To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. It is a simple yet profound truth, often overlooked in our busy and demanding lives. But the more we reflect on it, the more we realize that true happiness starts within. It begins with the acceptance of who we are, with all our strengths and weaknesses, our imperfections and flaws. Only when we embrace ourselves fully can we truly experience the joy and peace that come from within. Many people spend their lives chasing external validation, thinking that happiness will come from the approval of others, the accumulation of material possessions, or the attainment of certain goals. Yet, no matter how much we achieve or how many people tell us we're doing well, something still feels missing. It's as if we're searching for something outside ourselves, when the truth is that the source of happiness has always been within us. We all have an inner critic that often tells us we're not enough, that we have to do more, be more, or change who we are in order to be worthy of love and happiness. This internal dialogue can be cruel, leaving us feeling unworthy and disconnected from ourselves. But the journey toward falling in love with yourself begins with learning to quiet that critic and replace it with a voice of kindness, compassion, and acceptance. Self-love is not about being arrogant or narcissistic. It is about treating yourself with the same kindness, respect, and understanding that you would offer to a friend or loved one. It's about recognizing that you are enough just as you are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. This is a radical shift in mindset, one that requires patience and practice. It's about letting go of the need to be perfect and embracing the beauty of your unique, authentic self. For many, the path to self-love begins with healing. Healing from past wounds, whether they are emotional, physical, or psychological, is an essential part of learning to love yourself. These wounds may come from childhood experiences, relationships, or societal pressures. They may be deeply ingrained, but they are not permanent. Through self-compassion, therapy, and personal growth, we can heal from these wounds and begin to see ourselves in a new light. It's also important to acknowledge the power of self-forgiveness. We all make mistakes, it's part of being human. But often, we hold on to our mistakes, allowing them to define us. We tell ourselves that we are failures or that we don't deserve happiness because of the wrongs we've done. However, self-love requires us to release these burdens and forgive ourselves. We must recognize that our past does not dictate our future, and we have the power to change and grow. Falling in love with yourself also means taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It's about making time for the things that nurture you and bring you joy, whether it's reading a book, spending time with loved ones, practicing mindfulness, or simply resting. Self-love is not about indulgence or selfishness, it is about honoring your needs and recognizing that you deserve to be cared for. One of the most powerful ways to fall in love with yourself is through gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. It helps us appreciate the small things in life, the things we often take for granted. When we cultivate a mindset of gratitude, we begin to see our lives through a lens of abundance, rather than scarcity. We begin to notice all the good things we've been blessed with, and we learn to be grateful for who we are and what we've achieved, even if it feels like we haven't done enough. Another key aspect of self-love is setting boundaries. It is essential to learn how to say no to things that drain us, to protect our time and energy, and to prioritize our own well-being. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of self-respect. When we establish healthy boundaries, we teach others how to treat us and show ourselves that we are worthy of respect and care. As we continue on the journey of self-love, it is important to surround ourselves with people who uplift and support us. The people we choose to spend our time with can have a profound impact on our sense of self-worth. It's important to seek out relationships that are nurturing, positive, and aligned with our values. Let go of toxic relationships that bring us down or make us feel less than. When we surround ourselves with love and positivity, we begin to reflect that love back to ourselves. In addition to surrounding ourselves with supportive people, it's equally important to cultivate self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to understand our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and how they impact our lives. It involves being honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses and acknowledging the areas in which we need growth. When we are self-aware, we are better equipped to make decisions that align with our true desires and values, rather than seeking approval or validation from others. True self-love also requires us to challenge the societal standards and expectations that often define our worth. From the media to our families, there are constant messages telling us what we should look like, how we should behave, and what we should achieve. But these standards are often unrealistic and narrow. Embracing our individuality, celebrating our differences, and rejecting the pressure to conform is an essential part of loving ourselves. There is a beauty in vulnerability. To truly fall in love with yourself, you must be willing to show up as your authentic self, without hiding behind masks or pretending to be someone you're not. Vulnerability allows us to connect deeply with ourselves and others. It allows us to embrace both our strengths and our weaknesses, our triumphs and our struggles. In a world that often values perfection and success, vulnerability is an act of bravery and self-acceptance. The journey to self-love is not always easy. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when we feel unworthy. But that's okay. Self-love is not about being perfect, it's about showing up for yourself, no matter what. It's about choosing to love yourself even on the days when you don't feel your best. It's about embracing the process of growth, knowing that you are worthy of love, happiness, and all the good things life has to offer. The power of self-love cannot be overstated. It is the foundation for a life of fulfillment, peace, and happiness. When we love ourselves, we become more confident, resilient, and compassionate. We stop seeking approval from others and start trusting our own instincts and desires. We let go of the fear of judgment and step into our true power. Falling in love with yourself is the first step toward living a life that is aligned with your true purpose and happiness. When you love yourself, you begin to attract more love into your life. You set the tone for the relationships you build and the experiences you have. You create a life that reflects your inner peace and self-acceptance. Self-love is contagious. When you radiate love for yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your love becomes a ripple that spreads outward, touching the lives of those around you. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of self-love is the peace it brings. When you are at peace with who you are, you no longer need to chase after happiness or seek it from external sources. Happiness becomes a natural byproduct of loving yourself. It flows from within, filling every part of your being with joy and contentment. You stop waiting for the approval of others and start living a life that is true to who you are. So, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Are you loving yourself in the way you deserve? Are you treating yourself with kindness and compassion? Are you willing to let go of the self-doubt and fear that hold you back from fully embracing your worth? If not, then today is the perfect day to start. Falling in love with yourself is not a destination, it is a lifelong journey. It is a commitment to showing up for yourself every single day, no matter what. It is about making the decision to love yourself unconditionally, even when it feels difficult or impossible. And as you walk this path, remember that you are worthy of all the love, joy, and happiness that the world has to offer. By loving yourself, you unlock the door to a life of true happiness. You become the person you were always meant to be, and you step into a future filled with endless possibilities. So, take that first step today, and remember that the secret to happiness begins with loving the person you see in the mirror. You are enough, just as you are. And that is the first secret to happiness.